welcome to my garage, where you can see the beginning of a project that I'm working on. A Derby Senda. Originally it is a 50cc two-stroke moped. Not a moped, moped. That's the original engine. And the plan is to turn it into a electric motorbike. The original engine has like 2-3 horsepower, depending if it's de-restricted or not. Yeah, it weighs about 100 kilo, the whole bike. Top speed normally, when it's de-restricted, you get about 70, maybe 80 kilometers an hour with this thing. Now the plan is to make it electric, put in a electric motor that has nominal power of like 4 or 5 kilowatts. That should be enough to get a decent speed. As you can see, the current state of everything, I'm pretty much still in the planning state, figuring out which parts to get, which motor can fit in here, how I'm supposed to place the batteries, how I'm going to build a battery pack, how it's going to fit, because there is not a lot of room in here. And I had originally planned to take like the 18650 cells like these and put them like, come on. These are old cells, by the way. I'm not going to use these for the motorbike, to power the motorbike, because these can't handle a lot of power, probably. Drive the motor. But what I originally planned was to put the cells in like this. Well, with everything from the insulation and the case, there wouldn't be enough room to put them in like this. So another option would be to put them in like this and then stack them. But I haven't completely figured out how I'm going to do it exactly, and what's the safest way of putting these into a battery pack. I'm probably going to use these batteries to just practice building a battery pack and use it for like low power testing, something like this. This is all, this is the first battery pack I made. It's, as you can see, it's soldered on. It's not really that. Don't solder it, weld it, because this breaks really easy, the soldering. I already stripped the bike, as you can see, from it, so I can test some things, like do some cardboard prototyping. This is supposed to be a BEC 8000. Not sure if you can read that. Yep, now you can. This is a size BEC 8000 motor controller, and could put it here and then put the wires from the top to the motor down here. Or if I'm not going with a water-cooled motor, I can put it in here. It would fit nicely between these brackets. And then it would also have a good airflow. Now for the motor, I also did some cardboard prototyping. It says golden motor, but this is about the same size also of the Motor Energy. I think the ME 1718 is approximately the same size. And yeah, it should be able to fit in here, but then I would lose, like if I put it in here like this motor, I would lose a lot of space for the battery pack, which I can't really put the battery pack up higher, because from like the seat is about here, so I can get the battery pack to come up to here, up to this bracket, and not any higher. Planning phase. I'm also, looking at what motor I can get, which, for instance, the Motor Energy, they're easy to get in America, but then you need to pay shipping costs, which is like $200 on top of the $500 price tag of the motor. And then I also need to pay another 21% for tax when importing it here to the Netherlands, which I've also looked at the Q motor 138, which should also fit in here nicely. And then also, yeah, like the Golden motor, which also should fit. But then again, all of them have the same problem, that the cost for just sending them here is really high, like $200, $300. The speed at which this project will progress depends on mostly on how much money that I have to spend at the moment. I try to do, small things in the meanwhile. Things like figuring out what the dimensions are of the mounting hole. Oh. And I made this, draw this in like Fusion 360 and then 3D printed it to check if my measurements were correct from the main mounting points for the motor, which I can then use to build a bracket for the electric motor and something for the battery to lean on, for the battery pack. I also have done some color prototyping for the battery pack, as you can see. If we go in here, we need to take that out. So this is how the battery pack would probably fit in. As you can see, there is not a lot of space for the motor. And I really don't want to make the battery pack a lot smaller than this, because this is already a tiny battery pack. To see more of this project in the future, like and subscribe the video, and then hopefully in the next video I will have a little bit more to show you. Maybe hopefully some actual parts rather than cardboard pieces.